Hey, welcome to Hell in the Hallway podcast with your host, Billy. Today is a little bit of really not what's planned, but I was really moved by a video I saw earlier today. I was moved by a video of an Italian hospital, and I was watching the individuals who are struggling with COVID-19, and I don't know any of those people. But what I did see was people gasping for simple things we take for granted, like air, and I've struggled. It was really hard for me to watch it, and even worse, it was hard for me to watch it knowing that they don't have anybody by their bedside. you know there's nobody there holding their hand saying, I'm going to go through this with you, I'm going to walk this with you. Nobody's there. They're sitting there with these bags over their heads in order to help manage the pressure that's in their lungs, and they're just gasping for air moment by moment, not really knowing if they're going to make it. And it wasn't just seniors that I saw, it was a variety of ages. And if you do see the video, know that it is emotionally draining. It made me want to do a clip on this because there are still some people who are saying that, hey, this is not as serious as what they say. I'm still going to go out. I got the protection of our Lord Jesus Christ. And not really participating in social distancing or even maintaining their businesses being open, which from a financial perspective I get, but not from a perspective of love of self or love of others. We're struggling right now because we have a loss of control. We have the perception that we have control over everything in our lives, everything that's in our grasp. We actually believe that we have full control over it. And I'm not saying that it's just you. That's me. I have my own set of control issues, right? But it's driven by fear. It's driven by fear. We're afraid of what's happening because things that we felt was once in our control now isn't, right? And so what that does, it causes sometimes for us to kind of speculate. It causes us to, I'm hearing so many things on what this virus is about and how it's not so serious and how is this, how is that. Hey, listen, I have some clients who have Italian heritage, and they're speaking about what's happening to their relatives overseas. And I'm not prepared to tell them that it's a lie and it's a hoax, it's just the flu. No, I am hearing how severe and how people are dying and how afraid they are. And I feel a sense of heaviness when I hear them talk about it. I fear a sense of heaviness when I watch the video, and I'm complaining that I'm in my house, but I'm breathing, right? I'm complaining that gas is less than $2 a gallon, but I can't go nowhere. But I'm breathing. I'm complaining that I can't go to the movies, or I can't just go eat what I want, or I have to work in my office and not actually go to the office, but I'm breathing, right? I'm complaining that, God, I wish I could just go to the grocery store and pick what I want, all the time, and not be concerned about standing 6 feet from the next person. I went to Walmart at 6 o'clock in the morning the other day thinking I was avoiding humans, but that wasn't the case. But guess what? I'm still breathing, and I don't think about it. Each moment, each breath that I'm taking in this moment, I took for granted, and I'm still taking for granted. These people are gasping for air, and it was painful for me to watch how frivolous I am with mine. With people who are believing that, you know what, I'm covered by the blood of Christ. Listen, I am a believer myself, but I am not a fool. And I'm not calling you a fool. I apologize if that's how that comes across, because that's not what I want to come across. What I want to come across is that we still have to do our part. And if we're carriers or whatever it happens to be, I don't want to make anyone else sick. I don't want to do that to anybody else. I want to be responsible while I'm covered. Be responsible while we're covered. We should make sure that we are taking the necessary precautions, right? When you are when you cold outside, when it's winter, you're still covered by the blood, but you put on a coat, don't you? Right? We don't say, you know what, God, I know you got me. I know you're going to make sure that I'm warm. Even though it's 32 degrees outside, I ain't wearing a coat. You don't do that. You put a coat on because you're not a fool. You know you're going to freeze. There's a certain common sense things we need to do. Protect yourself, right? And I'm seeing all these different videos from individuals who are not even remotely in the field telling us this is all you have to do to, drink some lemon water and you'll kill the coronavirus. This stuff is dangerous. It's dangerous to pass that information because somebody's going to listen, and that means somebody won't get treated, and that's irresponsible. We have an increased vulnerability, right? And our increased vulnerability comes from the fact that, we don't have the comfort that we used to have, right? I took my comfort for granted, my comings and goings and all the different things that I'm able to do. I took it for granted, as I should be able to do, right? It's we feel we have our entitlement to our level of comfort, and our entitlement to our comfort is being tested right now. We no longer have those entitlements. We're starting to recognize the privilege in our comfort. It is a privilege, folks. And I hope when life returns to normal, whatever that normal happens to be, that we start to recognize the privilege in our comfort. Never again will I take certain things for granted that I historically thought just was, because it just is. And that's not the case. I am hoping, I am praying, I have faith that the world has a shift, that we have an increased capacity to love one another, and the things that divide us are so insignificant today, isn't it? So insignificant. My Italian brothers and sisters, I am not related, at least that I know, but I am connected. When I saw that, I shared in their suffering because I couldn't believe how much I was taking my own circumstance for granted. They are begging us to not be like them in their initial arrogance of their entitlement of their comfort. They're begging us. Can we adhere? Can we love each other enough to comply for a short time, for this minor inconvenience? Now it feels major, but if you told me, hey, you can stay alive and well if you stay in your house for this period of time, it doesn't sound so major then. This is uncomfortable. And it's only uncomfortable to a very light level because honestly, I couldn't imagine experiencing what they were experiencing, what they are experiencing. I can't imagine that. And to have to experience it alone, that's the part that broke my heart. I watched, my mom had to go to the hospital sometime last year. She had to have emergency surgery, and I'm sitting with my mom. I'm sitting next to her, and there's always somebody with her, right? But there was someone who was next over the curtain, on the other side of the curtain. I peered my head around to see, and he's hooked up to all kinds of machines. Whatever's going on, what was going on with him was devastating. It was devastating, and he was deathly ill. I don't know his diagnostic, but what I will tell you is nobody was by his bedside. And I remember speaking to the nurse. I said, has anyone come for him? He's alone. He's struggling alone. I couldn't imagine going through that by myself. I couldn't imagine a loved one going through that by themselves. Let's show and increase capacity to love during this time. Whatever your belief system, I am not even here to even manage that or deal with that. But love is something we really can show everyone, regardless of your race, regardless of your belief system, regardless of any of that. That is something we most definitely can show. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we talked about the outcome of this and whether or not it will show a change in people's hearts. And I'm pretty optimistic, and I believe that it will. I believe that there will be a shift in those it needs to be a shift in. And there will be an increased capacity to love, and more people will receive the benefit of that. Some people won't change, and that's unfortunate, right? But the ones that do, make sure you're somebody's love benefactor, and we are sharing love, and we're supporting, and we're giving love away, right? Not just trying to capitalize on it, but that we're giving this love away to each other, and by that I mean supporting, checking in on people who we probably otherwise wouldn't check in on, that we send our prayers, whatever your prayers may happen to be, into whom, that we send them our prayers. We have to do that for each other, and we have to do that for people clear across the globe, because if there's anything that I hope you notice, is that this particular virus has allowed our world to become significantly smaller. I cannot afford to not know what's happening on the other side of the world. I can't afford it, because what's happening to them is happening to me. It is. And it's happening to you. Allow the love that you have be a river that flows, right? Not a reservoir that collects and stagnates. I pray for us all. I pray for my brothers and sisters across the world who are struggling actively with this. I pray for those who can't even touch their loved ones to demonstrate their love for them in order to just protect them. I pray for them. I pray that we all adhere to the recommendations that we're being told until it's demonstrated it's safe to do otherwise. Let's love each other enough to not be entitled to our comfort even for a moment so others can live. Let's do that. This time, it is about the destination, not just revelation.